So let's talk about Brett Nee. Now, you probably know him as one of the fastest bowlers in the history of cricket, right? But his story, his real story, isn't just about speed. It's about what happens when you get knocked down and then knocked down again, and you still find a way to get back up. We're going to dive into the life of a man who just refused to stay down. Okay, picture this. It's the 2003 World Cup. The energy is just electric. And you've got this young guy from Sydney, blazing eyes, raw pace, at the top of his red-up. The quote really says it all. When he thundered in, batsmen felt real, genuine fear. He wasn't just a bowler. He was an absolute force of nature. And that's the real question here, isn't it? Because for all that talent, for all that power, Brett Lee's career was this constant, grinding battle. A battle against injuries, a battle against critics who were just waiting in the wings to write him off. This is a story about overcoming some truly impossible odds. So let's go back to the beginning, to his first big test of character. He absolutely bursts onto the scene, this young prodigy. But, well, the world of international cricket is unforgiving. It was never going to be an easy ride. I mean, his rise was just insane. He makes his Test debut in '99 and he's an instant sensation. By 2003, he's a World Cup winner. By 2006, he's the #1 ranked bowler on the entire planet. And then in 2007, he snags the first ever T20 hat-trick. The man was on top of the world. But, bowling at that kind of velocity, it takes a brutal toll on the body. And in 2004, his body just gave out. A stress fracture in his back puts his whole career on pause. For the very first time, that unstoppable force was brought to a dead stop. And almost immediately, the whispers started. The critics came out swinging, labeling him inconsistent, fragile, even a liability to his own team. The whole narrative was flipping from wonder kid to cautionary tale. But here's the thing about Brett Lee. He just put his head down and got to work. 2 years after that devastating injury, he wasn't just back in the game. He was the #1 ranked ODI bowler in the world. This just perfectly shows his fighting spirit. He didn't just come back, he came back and conquered. But that was only comeback #1. The next challenge he faced would be even tougher, threatening to end his career for good. He was entering his 30s, which, for a fast bowler, is basically retirement age. 2009 was an absolute nightmare for him. It was just this cascade of catastrophic injuries. First, major elbow surgery, then another stress fracture, this time in his foot. And to top it all off, a broken thumb. It was like his body was literally screaming at him to stop. By this point, he's 34 years old, and the media has completely written him off. The consensus was pretty clear. He was finished. It was sad, sure, but a predictable end for a great fast bowler. Except, Brett Lee wasn't listening to any of it. His response? He completely reinvented himself. I mean, just look at this comparison. On one side, you have a player who's considered finished, riddled with injuries. On the other, you have a dominant force, reborn in the new, fast-paced T20 format, who becomes a legend in the IPL. He wasn't just surviving, he was thriving. And here's the kicker. The proof is in the pudding, or in this case, the speed gun. After all those supposedly career-ending injuries, he came back and bowled the fastest delivery of his entire T20 career, a blistering 161.1 kilometers per hour. He wasn't just back, he was reborn, faster than ever. He turned what should have been an ending into a spectacular new beginning. So, when you look back on his career, what is his ultimate legacy? It's so easy to just focus on the speed, but his story really shows us it was forged from something much, much tougher than just raw talent. And look, the numbers are, of course, incredible. Over 700 international wickets. He's one of only 4 Australians to ever take more than 300 test wickets. That is a phenomenal achievement. But those stats, they don't tell the whole story. Here's the key takeaway, the real story. His career is best understood as a story in 3 acts. First, you've got the young star who fought back. Second, the aging veteran who just refused to fade away. And third, his final and maybe his greatest comeback. He reclaimed his own narrative. He made sure he retired on his own terms, as a legend, not as that injury-prone player the critics tried to define him as. And this really brings us to the core of his story. You see, it's not just about cricket. It's a powerful, powerful lesson in what it truly means to be resilient. Resilience. It's a simple word, right? The ability to bounce back. But Brett Lee's career is basically a masterclass in it. Every single time he was knocked down, he came back stronger or faster or just plain smarter. And, it's so important to remember the man behind the myth. Off the field, he was known for being quiet, humble, totally dedicated to his family. He even had these other passions in modeling and music, which shows this whole other side to his personality, so far from that fiery competitor on the pitch. Ultimately, Brett Lee's journey is this incredible reminder that talent, speed, those are temporary gifts. But toughness, that sheer will to fight back when absolutely everyone has counted you out, that's what builds a true legend. And it kind of leaves us with a question for ourselves, doesn't it? What obstacles are we prepared to overcome?